What's up, everybody? Listen, I got my chips out here and everything. What's going on? What's going on? Welcome to another edition of Mental Health Matters with Marty. So glad that you're here. We're going to give some people some time to get on. Listen, hope you all are having a great day. Let me know where you're at. I'm in my office today, y'all, trying to be professional in all that we do out here. So, hey, Auntie, how you doing? Listen, trying to do what we do out here, make it do what we do. But listen, like and share this. I am so excited to bring you what we're doing today. But always as Mental Health Matters with Marty, can we just go into there? Again, I am Martina Sellers, your mental health hygienist, and we want you to speak up, speak out, and live. Remember, June is a Men's Health Awareness Month. June is Men's Health Awareness Month, and we've been trying to focus on a lot on men's health, men's awareness, but we did not want this month to go by without talking to young men. Too often we don't talk to our young men to see how they are doing and want to talk with them and seeing how they're doing and everything. Hey, Taylor, listen. Let me know you're out there. We want to give some people some more time to jump on and jump in here. Hope you are doing well. We are doing well here in Southern California, trying to make it do what it do and having a great time out here. Listen, y'all, we are definitely in some times of social unrest, a lot of things going on. We're still fighting this COVID. The numbers are peaking again. We're still out here protesting. We're still doing a whole lot of things out here. But I want to do an oxygen check. In other words, how are you doing? Let me know how you're doing, y'all. So many over this past couple weeks, my referrals have been going through the roof, y'all, because I know a lot of us are suffering in silence, and that's what we don't want you to do. We don't want you to suffer in silence in the shadow of shame any longer, but we want you to speak up, speak out, and live. That's my mantra, y'all. Speak up, speak out, and live. How do you get out of a funk? Listen, I'm glad you asked that question. That is such an important question. How do you get out of this funk? Right. You gotta first know your limitations. Know how much you can handle. Listen, there has to be a time that you have to shut off the social media. There has to be a time you got to shut off the news. Self-care is so important during this time. Know your limitations. Don't engage with this arguing and so forth, back and forth. Know what you can handle, and it's okay that you're not okay during this pandemic, during this civil unrest. So that's part of how you get out of this funk, knowing what you can handle, knowing what you can't handle. So in this, as we're talking to young men, too often we don't talk to our young men about what's going on in their own lives. And that's why I'm so excited to have this young panel with us today in regards to them. Here we go. Listen, I'm hearing you. I have a lot of stress right now, but people are counting on me. Is it okay to say no once in a while? Listen, yes, it is okay to say no once in a while. As men, so this is Men's Health Awareness Month. As men, there is so much pressure on us. And I thank you for engaging in this conversation with so many things. It's okay to say no. Let me say that one more time. It's all right to say no. Know KNOW what your limitations are. So when you KNOW what you can handle, you would then have the ability to say NO. That's not on the agenda right now. That's not a priority right now. In order to keep my own mental sanity, I have to know when to say no and how to handle that. So listen, Carmel Towing, listen, if you need to say no, then saying no is all right. It is just fine to say no, and knowing when to say no and how to handle these type of situations and so forth. So without any further ado, I want to first and foremost bring on this exciting panel that I have that's joining us on tonight with us. I see my son trying to get his stuff together. Son, get your stuff together and get in here right. Let's You're on live now. What's going on, son?
Oh, I'm trying. Thanks, Dad. I
You're
appreciate.
sideways. We see you
Uh,
sideways right now.
I appreciate you putting me on blast. I appreciate it right now.
Yes, and since
And
you're in my room, yeah, make sure you pan right in there.
I'm trying. I need a few more moments.
Listen, you know me. You live with me your entire life. Listen, good to see you. Glad you made it.
I appreciate it.
Yes, yes, yes. Who are you?
What do you mean? Who am I? I think a lot of people know who I am.
A lot of people don't know who you are. Give us your name, what you do.
All right, so I'm Christian Sellers. I'm Marty's son. I go to school right now at California Miramar. I'm a student athlete over there. Currently working as well. Trying to figure it out. How about that?
I like that. Why is men's mental health so important? Why do you think it's, or even men's health, so important, especially young men for your age?
I think it's very important because it's kind of the finding out phase, early 20. Well, for me, the early 20s, it's kind of dealing with, figuring yourself out, finding out who you are, and finding out what you do best, and finding out your niche. I think you processing that and understanding that that works too. So
Yeah.
trying to have people around you, have mentors around you to process that, and understanding your mentality and understanding your mental, helping you with your mental does best as well too. So I think that's very important.
Okay, so I'm excited to have this conversation. So I want to bring in this next set. I call them now. I'm calling them the Wonder Twins because they are just so dynamic, and I love it. They speak for themselves. So without any further ado, I want to bring in Gordon and Garrett Flowers. What's going on, young man? What's happening? So I know who you are, but first, explain who you are. Gordon, wave your hand so we know the difference between you guys. Gordon here.
My name is Gordon. I've been speaking to Marty for damn near close to a year now. And right now I have a bachelor's in sociology. I am trying to pursue and work within my degree. And just like Mr. Marty's son said, I'm just trying to figure it out myself.
Yes, yes. Love it, Gordon. And Gordon has a heart for what we do in this whole thing. And he's definitely done some work as a youth pastor or youth pastor in training, or I don't know. You just done some work in ministry.
A little bit, yes, I have. I've actually done a little bit of work in youth pastor training, and a little avenue that I thought about that I'm still kind of iffy of pursuing as of late.
Yes. I hear you. And Garrett, what's going on, young man?
How you guys doing? I'm here. Well, let me introduce myself since you know you did it. My name is Garrett Flowers. I'm currently a student at Norfolk State University in Virginia. Due to COVID, I had to come out here.
Right.
My degree in psychology. I would say psychology. I'm trying to be a therapist. I don't know exactly what.
That's all right.
I want to for sure invest into our community, in the Black community for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Adolescents, young adults, in the best form I can. So,
right.
I think like everyone's still trying to figure it out, but I feel like I'm definitely almost there.
Yeah.
So I would definitely want to take my master's as well eventually. So yeah.
Love it, love it, love it. Well, thank you guys, Roger. And I'm gonna bring in my next guest in here as well, Mr. Sterling Scott. Let's bring you on in. What's going on, Sterling?
What's up, y'all? What's up? What's happening?
Hey.
What's the word?
Tell us about yourself, Sterling.
So as Marty said, my name is Sterling Scott. I've been knowing Marty for about 2 years now.
Yeah.
Graduated from UC Santa Cruz with a degree in molecular cell and developmental biology. But currently, I work as a photographer. So I'm still trying to figure it out. But I love the art. I love being able to direct and tell stories and show a different way of life. So yeah.
Love it, love it, love it. Look, we have this panel of educated young Black men that is sharing their stories and that regards. Listen, why is this? You know, we're in this climate right now of a lot of social unrest. A lot of protesting, a lot of this and that, and where Black men and Black lives have definitely been devalued. And we're seeing this constant flow of things. And Sterling, I just get a little personal. You know, you and I kind of talked this weekend about just some different things and all that. What are you all feeling? And I'm gonna start with you, Sterling, since you know what are you feeling these days about everything that's going on, and where do we as let me just start there. What are you feeling these days, and how are you feeling?
Right.
Oxygen check.
Right. Most of it, like, I'll be honest, I'm feeling hurt, man. Like,
Yeah.
I know I'm a happy guy. Like, I'm always
Right.
smiling and cheered up, but I'm hurt. And it's tough to see people that look like you on a day-to-day basis getting killed, you know?
Yeah.
And it hasn't let up. It hasn't let up at all. I mean, if anything, we've been reminded constantly that this is going on, especially in the last few weeks.
Right.
So with this whole, like, with COVID, it's already made it tough, but now we have, you know, George Floyd, and now we have Breonna Taylor and Tony McDade, and then Robert Fuller, a guy who I knew in Palmdale.
Wow.
A homeboy in Georgia. I'm like, there's so many names we can't keep up, but this is people that look like us. So, I mean, it's weird, like, going out some days and thinking, like, is this gonna be my last day, or someone out to get me? You know, so we kind of have this trauma. I kind of have this trauma that's going on.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Right.
How did it hit you, especially with this whole and we still don't know, you know, this whole thing? Was it a lynching? Was it suicide in that? And that's one of the things we definitely don't talk a lot about. It's suicide within the Black community, especially with young Black men. And men have, and I wish there's a better terminology for it, men are more successful, I hate to use it that way, when it comes to doing suicide and committing suicide, because they're very exacting. And what makes this one a little, and I'm just telling you from a clinical point, from my studies, make this a little bit different, is men don't do things openly in public like that. Men, for the most part, if they're going to attempt suicide, it's going to be very quick. It's going to be very quiet. It's going to be in a very private place, not publicly, because public says a whole different thing with that. So how was this for you, Sterling, and kind of processing that? And again, my condolences, guys. You know, you knew Robert and that. How was this processing this for you?
It was kind of surreal, you know. I went to school out there, went to high school, and you know, I've always known that the Antelope Valley has been racist, so that was nothing new to me. I've heard stories or whatever, but you know, I went to a private school, so I kind of, you know, even though I was exposed to it, I was still kind of protected. My parents did like a good job of trying to protect me from stuff like that, or having awareness, like if a cop pulls you over, and having those conversations. But I mean, now that we're older, I mean, this kid was 23 years old, and he has his whole life ahead of him, and then he's hung in public. That's crazy. The first thing that came to my mind was my siblings. And I'm like, my siblings are out there, you know, they're back home from college. Well, my brother just graduated from high school, sister's back home from college. And they're doing their thing. They're hanging out with their friends. And so I'm like, Palmdale City Hall is what, a mile away from my house, or my parents' home out there. So it's like anything can happen. It just really put things into perspective that, like, even though I may be educated, or I may have this, or I may have that, or I don't hang out in certain areas, it's like we're still affected by this. You know, anything can happen. So it really put this whole situation just really close to home. Like, it's right next door, it's sitting in my backyard. And I already knew we can't escape it. It's something that's always going to be in our shadow, because it's part of our history. It's part of who we are, but we don't want it to be sitting on our doorstep, you know?
Right. Listen, y'all, if you're just joining with us today, we're having a conversation with young men, young Black men, young educated Black men. Do you know what having your BA and pursuing that puts you automatically in the top 25% of when it comes to education with Black men, because Black men a lot of times are not afforded various opportunities, or because of struggle or whatever the dynamics are, that you having a BA puts you in the top 25% of Black men across this nation, period. Because you have that.
Mhm.
Yeah, and then when you talk about going to a master's level, now you're talking about the top 15%, and then we're talking about going into a PhD level. That's a whole nother ball game, right? In that regards as well. So first and foremost, let me tell you, all four of you, I am so proud of you, and want to commend you with the work that you are doing, how you're handling it, and I just want to encourage you, keep doing what you're doing, despite what might be out there. Yes, I get the anxiety and the trauma that we're going through, but I am so proud of you guys and what you're doing. I have one of my brothers on here, Thomas, out of the DMV area. Come on, Thomas. Thomas is applauding. Listen, Thomas is a great mentor and a great friend of mine. He's applauding you. You are standing on the shoulders of myself, of Thomas, of other Black men who come alongside you, and we put our arms around you and applaud the work that you are doing, and know that you have someone that you can lean on in all of us with that. So you're not doing this alone. So definitely, again, Sterling, our condolences, and however we can be a support to you as well. Listen, talk to me. The Wonder Twin powers, both Gordon and Garrett. How have you guys been in the midst of all this? Garrett, what about you? How have you been feeling here?
Okay. I was about to say who you were the first. You said me. I have been a lot. I mean, it's a lot of feelings. Really, I can't say one thing. I want to say at least three. Like, very exhausted, very angry.
Yeah,
just very on edge. I feel like I was so today, man, you seem very like on edge lately, or really like pieces snap. Man, I just can't not think about what's going on. And I can't think about cannot think about what I'm doing. I feel like I was always. I feel like I would definitely, for the catalyst for me that kind of woke me up from everything was Trayvon Martin, right? And that allowed me to get a lot more tuned into my Blackness, a lot more tuned of what's going on, racial injustice, social injustice, all that. But I'm not gonna lie and say that there are times where I step back, or I just kind of doing my own thing and everything else, and I still doing that. But this was kind of a reminder, like, wow, like, I'm not doing enough, or I don't know enough. And I humbly sit there and think like, damn, I need to start reading again. I need to start doing everything again to really be well informed of when things like this happen, be a lot more well, and not just with the current everyday news, but more in tune with a lot of our ancestors and how they handled things past tense.
Right. Oh, that's good.
Because it's really something special when you're reading about our Black history, where people kind of go through the same thing they go through, where kind of are similar in a way. So I feel like I need to do that more, and I haven't taken the time to do it because I've just been kind of securing my peace, not being online as much, not being on Facebook as much, not being on Instagram. I even this week I started to kind of dismiss cutting from like Instagram because it's so many opinions, and then seeing that even within our own, seeing so many opinions, it gets you riled up, gets you so frustrated, and I get myself caught up in like, I don't want to be that guy arguing with people online, having to check online for racism and everything else. So I've had to secure peace, and just trying to find ways to consistently weed and try to figure out the aftermath.
Wow. That's good. Yeah, and thank you for that, because that's what I was sharing with on here from Twitter on here with Carmel Toying, as he was talking about how do I get out of this funk. And I think you said a great thing, limiting a lot of what we do on social media, or even limiting how much, because this whole thing can get you. I was just telling one of our patients today, listen, put it down. Stop sleeping with your phone. Everything is not urgent. You ain't got, every time you roll over, you want to check the news feed. Stop that. Listen, discipline yourself so you know how much you can take in with that, so that you're not succumbed by all that's happening in the world and everything. So no, man, thank you for sharing that. That's so powerful. Gordon, what about yourself?
it's depressing to see this every other day, seeing something going on in the news, and despite what we're protesting, despite what we're saying, they keep killing it. And it's like a, and sometimes I don't know how to articulate my feelings towards that, and articulate my thoughts. But I just say we need to move forward from this, work on police reform and things of that nature. But then I'm also, when I see these things happening, I'm not sure it's really going to stop. It is in the right set, but I'm not sure if it's going to stop. And piggybacking off what Garrett said, the things that are going on today, it does make me want to do more research, do more things to supply my knowledge on this, be more informed on these issues. I can know how to speak on it. I always stay clear from debates. It's not because I don't want to say the wrong thing, or I don't want to sound like I'm misinformed. I don't want to receive the wrong information. Then I get shown up, you know.
Yeah.
But this is a great plateau into me looking at stuff, looking at more information. I'm looking at the news more. I'm not a fan of what I do because I pick up on the tactics, like the green line, the fear mongering, all that stuff. I pick up on it, not to boost my horn or stuff, but it's like everything that's happening to us being killed is being politicized, and I don't like that. I don't like how it's being used. I don't like how it's being used to promote other people's political campaigns, or it's used to demonize them. I don't like that at all.
Very true.
And
that's big.
I don't.
Good point.
I know. It's hard to watch. It's hard to watch news sometimes. That makes me wonder, like, okay, I don't need to watch this today. It's messing up my mood. But on the side, I need to know how to counter. I feel like I need to know how to adjust myself and counter these arguments if someone comes at me with all the tactics that they've seen on television, like the fear mongering, the demonization, all that. Because throughout these times, we see the protests, we know what the message is, but the narrative is being skewed to the riots and the looting. And it takes away of what we're trying to do, what the message is, what we're trying to get out. The awareness is there, but now it's just being used for like some political manifestations, political mechanisms, all that sort of thing, you know?
Yes. And I love what you're saying. You're saying, you know, that we have a responsibility, that we don't get caught up with all this, the political side of it, till we lose that focus ourselves.
Right.
And so I love what both of you are saying. In that, so that we remain focused, so that we don't lose focus in that, so that we're making sure that we're driving the movement as we need, as necessary for us, and we don't let outsiders come in and dictate to us what our movement needs to be about. Come on, young men.
Right.
I know. I'm weird opinion. Like, man,
I mean, it's funny. It's like America has been founded on the exploitation of Black people, Black bodies since its birth. And so it doesn't surprise me that in times in which we're trying to fight for justice, fight for change, fight for something that's a more moral and ethical issue and not a political issue, that they're using those same taxes that they used since Jim Crow and minstrelsy to dehumanize us and continue to exploit us. You know, it's just like all these companies that are saying, oh, well, we support and we're in inclusion and diversity and putting out all these letters. But I'm like, where's the action? Where's the action, right? So it's always up to us as Black people to narrate and tell our own stories. You know what I mean? Like, if we're using our voices to say, hey, this is what's going on, like that's what they put on the news, that's not true. I can tell you this right now, because my partner over here, or my brother over here, my sister over here, you know what I mean? We have the tools and the capacity to do that now, to counteract all the stuff that we're seeing, you know, online or on the news, in the media, whatever, what have you.
I'm going to segue right into something you said, Sterling, that it's up to us to make the difference, and we have to be the ones to change or keep the momentum going or define it that way. So what, Christian, what can you do, or what can you guys do to help bring about change? What's next? I guess I should say, what's next for us? What's next for young adult Black men and your generation?
I think personally, I mean, it's a lot, you know, like I feel like, and I just want to speak a little bit back to the focus thing,
Okay.
because I think the focus is like if we know our heritage and we know us, that should send us into a different focus too as well. Because you know yourself, you know, when you know yourself, you're gonna stick up more for yourself. You're gonna, or when you know your heritage, you're gonna lock in just that much more. Be like, okay, nah, my heritage, like my ancestors did this, so I gotta lock in for them. I gotta lock in for my generation. I gotta lock in for them too. You know what I'm saying? So I think knowing yourself and knowing where you come from is a big thing on your focus too, because you can't just give up because like it gets tough and like that. I feel like that speaks to not knowing your heritage, you know,
Oh,
or
that's
that speaks
good.
to not knowing where you come from, you know, because
Yeah,
you're not gonna stop when you know where you come from, you know.
that's good.
So
Tanya White
but yeah,
says
sorry.
this way. No, you're right on top. That she says, yes, we have the tools. And then she also says,
Indeed.
yeah, we are more than what is being portrayed in the media. I love it, Tanya. You're
Mm,
absolutely right with that. Because, and I can share this because Christian's my son with that, you know, but it's because his grandmother, his great grandmother, and his aunties down in Alabama and all that, they stood alongside of Dr. Martin Luther King in the 60s. And they were also part of the group that had water hoses and dogs
yeah,
released on them. And so he's heard those stories from his grandmother who shared with them. So what is happening? And you guys, it's almost a, I say it this way, I'm getting excited. So you guys, this is new for you because your generation has never had to
yeah,
experience this.
yeah,
You know, I heard stories about it. I experienced blatant racism. I grew up in the Midwest in Ohio, so yes, it was either black or white. You know, when you're
yeah,
only black kid in the whole school, there's a problem. But this is new for you guys. You're just almost like, I thought we moved past this. I thought we
yeah,
have arrived. I thought, you know, we've definitely gotten better. But right, I see you shaking your head, Gordon.
yeah.
Like, Garrett, you want to say something? Oh, I thought you were going to say that. Go ahead. What was your guys?
No, I was gonna say if it's not one thing or the other, it's just like what I went back to saying is we work on our society, work on other things, but there's always, if it's not one individual, it's a collective that's promoting a narrative about us,
Right.
and then people look at it and take it for granted. Well, not take it for granted, take it and run with it and think all the negative activities of us, negative stereotypes of us.
Right. Right. And so we have a responsibility. So you were saying we were talking about that. So what's next, Christian? That's the question we were talking about. And I'm going to ask you guys. Yeah. What's next? What's next?
For me, I feel like
best
we can.
I think. Oh, I'm sorry. My fault.
No,
go ahead. Continue,
you good. You good. You good.
Continue, Garrett. Go ahead.
Like a little behind
for you.
Right now, so
for you, what?
You good.
Go ahead, Garrett.
For me, I feel like the best we can do is go back to our resources, go back and use our tools, because a lot of us don't know. A lot of us are not aware of what's going on. A lot of us, this is the first, like you said, this is the first time a lot of us are experiencing it. For the millennials and the Generation Z. I hate saying that word, man. It's so hard to say. It's like L's and I's, but yeah, for sure. Definitely trying to go back and use the resources and everything, and then trying to like format them to today's time and today's standards. Understand that, yes, that the resources are there and we have stories, we have so many ways to go about it, but they're not going to be the same. You know, there's so many blackness now. There's so many subcategories. There are many different categories. I'm black, but I'm this. I identify as this. I'm black, but I'm this. I'm black, I'm this. So there's so many ways that we have to go about it. So I want to try to use. So I think the best way to go about it is knowing our history, and also find methods and ways and organizations that's going to help us provide to move on with this, and just staying well informed. That's only the best way I can go think about it.
Okay. Okay. Let's go. So Sterling, what do you think? What's some of the what next? What can we do?
That's honestly a tough question because myself, I'm really just getting my feet wet with this. I kind
Mhm.
of was just like, this isn't right. And I was like, well, I'm taking my camera, and then here I am 3 weeks later, and a bunch of stuff is going on of me taking photographs of different of the protests, some
Right,
candlelight vigils, and everything.
right.
So I'm still trying to figure it out. I think the
Mm,
biggest thing is just making sure that we call upon the people that we know, the people that know this, like Marty or any other mentor who have gone through this,
mhm,
our grandparents, the people who have experienced that, and go into those resources of knowledge and saying like, hey, well, what did you guys do? You know what I mean? And we're young enough, we're smart enough, we can piggyback off things that they've done to create an
mhm.
action plan to say like, hey, they did this. Now we gonna do this. We gonna add it, take it to the next step. So I'm thinking that it's stuff like that, or just really supporting the people within our community, making sure that we're
Yeah.
checking in. It doesn't have to be these grand master plans and saying like,
Mm.
well, we're gonna go and we're gonna become anarchists and overthrow the government. No, it could be something as simple as like, hey, let me make sure I check on my neighbors in my community.
That's
Um,
good.
Mm.
That's
make
good.
sure I check on the youth that I know or the people that look up to me. Am I checking on my nieces and nephews? Those are
Yeah.
the things we need to start doing to really create, this whole this realm of okay, everybody's on one accord. And so when we
Mhm.
do the build up to like the bigger things, it's like the neighborhood's like, okay, yeah, Sterling, you've been here, we got you. Like we're down
Mm.
to go through and we're down to like make a mini protest or we're down to do something like that. So it's really I think a lot of people are scared, number one, because
They
they're
are.
scared to go out. Yeah, they're scared to
Yeah.
go out to get coronavirus.
Yeah.
And a
Yeah.
lot of people, they're not used to this. You know what I mean? We have to be mindful that when we're going out to these things, we have to be protected as well. Because I didn't know that there's infiltrators that go to these riots and protests, people
Yeah.
that are trying to get you to, I didn't mean to say
Yeah.
riots, but people who are instigating the riots, to get you
Yeah.
caught up. So
Yeah.
we need to have each other's back. We need to make sure that we can hold each other accountable, but also that we know that we can trust one another. I think that that's where it really starts. Like, how do we build up trust to be like, yo, I know my brother got my back. I don't have to worry about this. You know what I mean? And we also scanning and looking out for people who are against us or people who they say they're with us, but really are here to just tear us down, whether they're black, white, brown, Asian, whatever. We just have to be
Right.
ever vigilant of all these, of
That's
all this.
good. Good.
Right.
Mhm.
I'm like what Thomas is saying. Yes. You're talking good, young man. My brother's keeper. Yes. We are.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Jason says, I'm scared. I haven't been out yet. And I get it. Jason, you're not alone. You're not alone
Mhm.
about not going out because there's lots of us out there that's kind of nervous, but I think you have to do it on your own terms.
Mhm.
We cannot let other people force us into stuff that we're not comfortable doing because
Agree.
that's when we start to feel the pressure and lose ourselves in that. But we all can definitely do our Darrell, I should have had you on here too. Hold on, this long says, I think what you do next depends on who you are, where you are,
Wow.
what you can bring to the table. Everyone has a role in this movement. It can feel overwhelming because it's a big thing to tackle. However, when you start right where you are with what you currently have, you'll find that you're capable of making great impact that inspires others nearby to do the same. Listen, Mr. Darrell, that is so amazing. Talk to me about that comment, Christian. What do you think about that comment that he's made there?
That's definitely a dope comment, and it's definitely valid because, like for me, I can say that like I kind of have a sports background, so I can bring in that aspect of giving back to the community that way, So because I think that's a big thing that's been like looked over as well because they view us as, and I'm gonna be honest, they kind of view us more as like entertainers, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So and it's crazy to say because that's how it is, because if they didn't, why haven't these coaches spoke up about to their players? You know what I'm saying, about their players? Because it's a lot of African American males that are at these D1s or at these NBA on these NBA teams, at these college football, you know, teams or what have you. They haven't really said too much about it, and which is disheartening, because how are you going to put a white man to represent black players and you don't stick up for them? So that kind of hurts me, you know? So I think that's kind of the aspect I'm speaking on too. And that's a role that I kind of have. So why can't we get these athletes, these major athletes, or what they call us entertainers, to go to these HBCUs and give back? That's another way to give back, you know? Kind of let's build up these HBCUs. And like you said, let's create an education system that is good. You know what I'm saying? That we can send our education, like our money, back into Black education and HBCU education, and let's get our community to go to those type of schools and help those kids. You know what I'm saying? So, and to get these degrees, and let's get these degrees and get these BAs and all that and such. So let's create that. So let's get that. Let's try to get that.
Papa had to sit up for a minute here. Yes.
Let's try to get that 25% to 35%, 35% to 40%. You know, let's increase those numbers. You know, let's
go ahead.
Sorry, I was saying, like, let's flip those tables around. You know, let's have our money stay somewhere where we can see it, or use our entertainment as something positive. You know. So
but even that, what I even hear you saying is recycling our own dollars. Recycling our own dollars. Garrett's gone to a HBCU with that, and my brother Dr. Ed Rice. HBCUs are built. We need our students to view them. You're absolutely right.
Yes.
To view them as a viable option. Garrett, come on. Talk about you going to a HBCU. What was that experience like for you, and why would you recommend it to other young men or young men and women as a viable, as Dr. Rice has said, option? He says they're not just a destination for home. Come on, Garrett, talk to us about that real quick. What was your experience like, and why would you promote an HBCU? And we're talking about HBCU, for those who don't know, historically black university. So talk to us about it, Garrett.
Man, it's really, really, really incredible. I think one of the biggest things is seeing other Black people from different spaces and seeing how Blackness comes in so many different forms. I think that's something that is so great, seeing like high class, middle class, or Black people from the East Coast, Black people from the South, people from the West Coast. It's something that is great, and being all in one space is great. And I think for me, representation matters. So that is something that allowed me to see that, dang, there's other Black people wanting to succeed. Not just saying that there isn't, not saying that I've been around like Black people don't want to succeed, but seeing that, like, the drive, the goal, like, it forces you to be like, wow, I can get there too. Wow, I can get there. Like, it's possible in a world where they say Black people are only like an option for like sports, entertainment, rap music, So in so many things, the thing is, you find all these great historical facts about Black people. You see, like, wow, we are great creators. I'm gonna say one example. Like my name, I'm named after Garrett Morrison, is a guy who made not just the gas mask, but the traffic light. So my name, and that's what I found out. And like, I was born with it. That was something that's not taught in a PWY. That's not something that's taught in education. They don't, and it's like Black people have made it. So it's like, that's an experience, and that's so many things that you can only find. One of the few things you can find at a Black HBCU, not just the history, but the adventures, the excellence, the greatness. Of course, the beautiful people. It's so many reasons. I can go on and on. Don't even ask me that question. I go on and on and on and on. HBCUs are so viable and so slept on. And our society sleeps on it because I even say that our society sleeps on it because they always even say it's to a point where they don't want to accommodate us who people go to HBCU. Exactly. Even though we have all this great excellence, all this great intellect, they don't want to accommodate us. I trip out. But I can go on and on, man. Y'all really could.
You're all right. You're all right. So HBCUs are responsible for the creation of the Black middle class.
That is so true.
This is my little cousin. She knows I totally agree. She is a graduate of Spelman with us. And Veronica, I'm with you. She says, I love watching my Kings. See, you guys are out there. My daughter went to HBCU. She went to Tuskegee. We're still trying to maybe get Christian to transfer to a HBCU.
It's late in the game, man. It's late in the game.
It's never too late in the game, and that's what we have to stop thinking too. It's never too late in the game. No one ever asks you. I'm going to drop some knowledge. No one ever asks you how long did it take for you to get your degree. They don't ever ask that question. The question is, do you have it? It's never too late to jump in the game with that. Oh, really? Yes, it's your cousin telling you don't want to listen. She's been trying to tell you to get down there to HBCU forever in that. Yes. So too many of us don't know the value behind the HBCUs, especially our students on the West Coast.
Yeah.
You're right, because
so right.
And they love West Coast folk because we don't get enough of them out there. In that, it says, I work in education as a college prep advisor, and I'm surrounded by counselors who pump into the minds of these schools to go to USC, Cal State universities, or Ivy Leagues with that. See, Auntie Tasha says Christian is never too late.
Oh my God!
Don't get us on the wall.
You might as well go ahead. You might as well
go ahead
right
and
now,
roll
right? You might as well just roll out that letter, that acceptance letter, right?
But you were accepted to HBCU.
You said what?
Said you were accepted to HBCU.
I was.
In that regard, says again. I love it. It says 83% he believes of all Black PhD recipients matriculated through an HBCU at some point. That's a great stat to know. And that Dr. Rice says Christian quit playing. Yeah, and for those of us who didn't go to HBCUs, Gordon, you and I did not go, as well as Sterling, we did not go to traditionally historically Black colleges and universities. I definitely support them. But my thing is, listen, go to someone's school, get some piece of paper behind you, because right now a high school diploma, we got it. And I'm not saying college is for everyone. It's not, but some sort of training or what have you. We got to support Black dollars. And that was the point we were getting to, how to recycle our dollars. Because in this movement, what I believe the next thing that needs to happen is we have to learn how to be strategic about recycling our own dollars in that, because that's how we hit it, because it becomes about a movement. One of the things I'm specifically doing is choosing the companies I want to now invest in. I'm having a hard time. Y'all pray my strength in the Lord in these last and evil days. I may have to come away from Starbucks with that and in that, and we have to also know what we need to do. Thank you, Tanya. I attended the University of Arkansas in Pine Bluff, and it was the best experience ever. I love all y'all who went to some HBCUs or know that you're some family members with it. Shout out, throw your school up there and throw your family school up there to represent, because we don't want to go unnoticed.
Sing it right now. I have my sweater in the back.
Yeah. You gonna be in the video? She was like, "Hey, what's up, y'all?"
We a family-oriented show. We talking about the thing. Yes. Howard, you come on. Yes, my passion is for education begins at Tanya's amazing. Listen, she got an amazing book out here. The passion for education began at an HBCU. Come on, yes, we know Spelman up in the house. Yes, all of it. Yes. Again, how do we get young Black men? Let me say it that way first. I'm being very specific since we're talking about June is Men's Health Month. How do we get young Black men to stay? I'm gonna say it this way. How do we get us this? It's such a broad term. Stay woke. How do we get not? And I'm just not saying woke in the movement, but woke about our physical health, woke about our financial health, woke about even healthy relationships and what that looks like in that. So I'm going to toss it out there. Whoever wants to go first to answer that question, go. Was that you, Gordon? Okay, come on, Gordon.
I think we should provide the resources that we have to Black Americans, all of us, the Black men that need it, because people think that we don't have resources or they aren't looking. We do have resources. We do have educational institutions. We have Black therapists like yourself that I up and found, or things of the matter that provide us with knowledge, funds, and things that can help our mindset,
Right.
Basically, I don't know how do I put this? Basically getting a better understanding of what resources we have and how do we use them effectively.
Good. That's good.
That's very true.
Yeah. Since we're talking about that, Garrett, what's your thoughts on that too? How do we get young Black men to be more involved in our own health? Because too often we say we don't have control, or the man did this. How do we take the power from the man and make us the man?
Ooh, that's a tough question. I definitely say start small. I definitely say take your time with it. So much knowledge. There's so much things going on. There's so many different people to follow. There's so many different ideologies. So I definitely say start small, where it becomes a habit, it becomes just necessary. To always make it an exposure of the knowledge, exposure of why. I always say constantly know the why we're doing it.
That's good.
And also reinforce from creating a small habit out of it, of reading, of organizing, of even when starting small about knowing what we eat. You're like, okay, I gotta say, like, we love soul food is great.
Yeah.
To be honest, it's killing our people. Like, so much sodium in it and everything else. I mean, I'm not shaming nobody. Soul food.
You're not shaming.
Nah, be real.
Right.
Y'all, for me personally, just start small. As for anything, for knowledge, organization, finding resources, because starting small and knowing why it's important. For us, we have to constantly know why am I doing this? Why is it important to fight for our other Black men? It's crazy that, for us it's obvious, but for some other Black men, it's not obvious. For some of us, we're not awake. A lot of us are not woke. A lot of us do not aware. So we have to understand why is it important. That's something I would love just to reiterate.
Excellent. Sterling.
I think it's a few things. First, it's definitely finding out who you are and knowing what you're about. That would be my first thing. Really finding your own truth.
Yeah.
Once you figure out your own truth and like what you're about and who you want to be, and nothing else can really like stop you. So I think that's the first step. I think the second thing is like really checking like our attitudes. And what I mean by that is Black men are quick to say no. We're quick to be like, nah, bro. Like, nah, I'm good. And then we tear down each other.
Why do you think yeah, I hear you. Why do you think that is the case, that we say, no, I'm cool, I'm good?
Right.
Why is that?
I think we try to put on this facade, and I'm not saying that you're not good or you're not straight, because 9 times out of 10 we probably are, but then there's a lot of hurt and stuff that we're not addressing as well.
That's good.
And I think we try to come off from our history as being big and strong and these like powerful and we can take anything. But I think that we need to be like, you know what, I'm not good today, bro. Sometimes we just need to be more conscious about the things that we're doing, the things that we're saying, the things that we're telling ourselves. And then that way we'll be able to open more doors and be like, oh, okay, you know what? I'm comfortable with this. I can go and have a conversation with this. I can sit down with my brothers and we can talk about this. I can call somebody up and say, hey, you know what, dude? Like, I'm having a tough time right now. Like, this is what's going on in my life. But sometimes, I mean, and I struggle with it too. Sometimes I'm so afraid that somebody's going to judge me. That I think that's like the biggest issue. I'm so afraid that somebody is going to judge me for me just being me. And they don't have nothing to do with nobody else. It's my own truth. But like, I'm so afraid of that, and it's like, we have to get out of that mindset. We have to get out of that and just be like, you know what, this ain't about them, but this is about me. So once we hit that moment that consciousness, that level of consciousness, then we can start picking out, you know what, that ain't right, you know what I mean? We can be woke here, we can be woke there, but until we start to just take one step back and be like, you know what, I really need to take this time. I really need to speak to somebody because this is affecting me. Instead of like holding it in, just let it out. And then you can like move on and move forward. So
yes, unless it's we're not just our brother's keepers, but we are our brothers. That's good. Yes, Darrell said this. It said it begins with having conversations that dismantle the negative stigma behind mental health within the Black community, not allowing toxic masculinity, that's so good, to hold you back from being vulnerable and seeking help. Listen, man, I should have had you on here. Listen,
That's
I needed
good.
your voice on here.
That's really good.
But that is because of all of the and thank you, Sterling, for your vulnerability. All that says, listen, I am afraid to be vulnerable and allowing people to because I know people are going to judge me, or someone might size me up, or they don't like what I'm saying, or feeling embarrassed behind it, and all of that. There was also a question out here that says, why don't men want to talk about their health, and why do they think that they are weak in that? That's a great question. Do they, Christian? Why don't we want to talk about our health or our mental health? Do they think that we are weak?
I think that like in the like I think that taps into a lot of our oldness or our like our heritage, because it was presumed weak if you like wasn't hard or you wasn't stiff, like they say down the South, like you wasn't stiff.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Bro.
Like it was just seen like it's hard. Like I don't know how to explain it. Like
yes, you do. You got it.
We just are supposed to be so. We were supposed to be so strong. You know what I'm saying? Like it's hard to see. Like even I can speak from my perspective. So like me seeing you like I never seen you, you know, like cry in front of me or something like that. Like it's hard to be. I feel like it's hard to be vulnerable in front of our or even our children. You know, and it's hard to say like, oh man, like this happened, or to tell them like, oh man, like we missed this bill or what have you. Like it's hard to hurt in front of a kid or even a Black kid. And it's hard to. I feel like that happens a lot, and that has like a long-term effect, because it's like, well, my dad ain't do it, so I'm not gonna do it. You know what I'm saying? Like he always showed he was always good, so I'm not gonna show it to my family that we struggling or we doing this or we that. You know what I'm saying? So I think it has a lot to do with like not opening up as well too. Like that's a big thing, and not being able to talk with your brother. You know what I'm saying? Like it's, you can have a joking around conversation, but sometimes it needs to be a serious conversation. You feel me? Because I think that serious conversation can go a longer way. You know what I'm saying? Or it can go. I think that heart to heart connection never really be like, it doesn't like get felt like that, if that makes sense. So I that's what I think. I don't know if I really explained that right. I just be rambling sometimes.
But because that feeds into the stigmas and what we perceive, that we have to act a certain way, we have to be this way, we have to be so hard, and all of that. With that, what are some of the stereotypes that you guys have felt yourselves, Garrett and Gordon, that you had to live up to certain expectations, maybe? Because we heard Sterling say, you know, about even being judged.
Hey, what you feel? Me and you want to go?
Either one.
I definitely could say definitely masculinity, as far as even having a job or having a like job, how you carry yourself, your finances, what car you drive, what clothes you're wearing. Even from that, all defining what masculinity represents, and these are all things that are stemmed from, like picking right from Christian said, all traditional social norms or old social norms or patriarchy. And that is something I feel like is dismissing experiences, dismissing topics that are human, topics that we experience these things And it's kind of like, as men, it's kind of like it's sane, but it's insane to say, oh, you know what? As men, we can't express emotion that is human, that everyone, and we're dismissed all the time.
Yes.
So I think that's something that I have personally felt like, you know, saying. I've seen my father cry, but you know, it's like you can't cry, you can't do it in funerals. In times where it's necessary, where in times where it would be very like, it would just be very like, it makes sense to cry. Well, I would think would make sense. We can't express that. So that's stuff as men that I can say for sure. I personally faced that a lot, where you can't express emotion. You have to stay silent. You have to stay strong, 10 toes down when need be. You know that?
Yep.
For real. 10 toes.
Yeah.
10 toes.
He said, you know, I think Christian hit on something profound as adult men. And we're now, I love it because you're making us re-examine who we are too, our role and responsibility as adult men. We never modeled vulnerability, so there's no precedent for our young men. And he follows that up with, we have to embrace them and embrace them and vulnerability and show them it's okay. I agree. Thank you. That we have to show you that it's okay, because you what you say, Garrett, that we are men, we are human beings. Being emotion and showing emotions is a part of who we are. Now, how we show emotions are different. You know, we can't just get excited. I'm gonna use your analogy, Christian. We can't just get excited when we're at the sports game and going off and when Kobe was around and you know, we're at the game and we're just going, but we have to also show those emotions too when we are suffering, when we are hurting, when we are going through. And so, you know, I say it this way: in the midst of everything that's going on, I am so glad that we as Black men are finally saying we are tired, we are exhausted, we are definitely, you know, we're angry with that as well. So y'all got to shout out Gordon. We are that we are hurting in that regards as well. So how do we? So I'm not going to belabor the point. Listen, I first want to thank you guys for coming on, but how do you all show what's next? What do you want to do? I love what we've been talking about. How do we make a small impact in difference in our world and what we do? Sterling, what's your impact, and how do you want to make a difference just being Sterling?
Just keep telling more stories, man. That's what it's about. What I realize with my photography and working with other people, like the more vulnerable that you can get with that person, and that person trusts and is vulnerable with you, then the better the story, the better the narrative. So my goal, I guess, is to tell a story of South Central, and not something that is by these white folks that want to, you know, make a Boys in the Hood or Menace to Society type deal. I'm like, nah, because that experience that I live is not that experience that they're trying to portray us on TV. So just talking about like real stuff, you know, talking about real stories, talking about real people that do real things and love and get angry and get mad and cry, just like each and every one of us, you know. And I think that really we talked a lot about how the media is like dehumanizing us, which they do, or they make us like these entertainers or these big people. Part of my job and what I want to do is really just bring that back home, give us back our humanization. Not that it's ever left. But
that's good. Exactly.
It's never left, but to really show and tell a story that's real, you know. So
So if we wanted to have you, this amazing budding up and coming photographer, have you to take pictures, how do we get a hold of you? Yes, this young man needs money too, so don't be talking about come with a little something to put in these young men's pockets because the green is still the mean thing, y'all. How do we get a hold of you if we need to have some pictures taken? Because we got the Wonder Twins. They're gonna need their new portfolio pictures taken. Right. And they need a young Bob. I'll be like, y'all too young for that one. Like, make me beautiful, man. Take my pictures. Please take me. Yeah, that's what
You see, he acting up.
Hey. Acting up. You still live in my house. I can put you out. I can't put them out. Sterling, how can we get a hold of you?
The best way to reach me is on my Instagram. So it's at Sterling, STERLING _ and then gold, GOLD _. That's the best way. I put most of my work on there. I have a Flickr page. If you want to look at that, that's where I have probably all of my work. So it's Sterling Scott, and you can just look me up on Flickr. But the best way to reach me is contact me through Instagram. I check it pretty frequently. I try to post. Just like that as often as I can. And if you have questions, I mean, all the photos that I can get prints or whatever, but I really enjoy, working with people and so displaying stories. So if you come to me, I'm always here to like work out a fair price. I know money is tight right now, but like we all got to get paid. So
yes, we do. Yes, we do. I say, just give up on your weed money and your alcohol money and just come on. We all got vices. Come on. Those of you 21 and older, since this is a men's show, you just can't go to the Shake Shake Club and you can't get them hot wings.
The Shake Shake Club.
Shake Shake Club.
Did you hear about the Shake Shake Club?
Hey.
Oh, man.
That's
no dimes and nicks for y'all.
Y'all too young to be hanging out at clubs now. But anyway, Gordon, Garrett, how can we get a hold of you? What you guys, you guys are doing such amazing stuff with that, and how do we get a hold of you? Because listen, we got to keep this conversation going and doing so. I'm having y'all back. I'm bringing some more young men on here because you all are too powerful what we're doing here, because we got to keep this conversation going. We got to empower young men and everything. So how do we get a hold of you guys?
Well, you can get a hold of me through my email. I'm not really on social media, and if I am, I'm mostly spying on people. So I'll just keep it a buck. My email is gordonflowers19@yahoo.com. If anyone wanted to contact me, contact me via email. Very professional, like that's all.
Professional, right? I love that. He's a professional.
Yeah, I tried.
I understand.
I tried, but
it's good. For me, you can follow me on social media, Instagram. I am a dancer, so I try to do my best. As of recently, I haven't been able to post clips because COVID. But you can follow me on Instagram at HJStriker now. Let me make sure I got the spelling right for that. Actually, I'm looking at it because I want to make sure. But I'll probably post it in the comments too, if anything. But also email as well. Definitely Flowers Garrett. This is my last name person, flowersgarrett@yahoo.com. But I try my best to use my platform the best way I can. I definitely try to post as much clips as I can and whatnot. I'm starting to post a lot more clips. At one point I was very insecure about my talent, even though I've been dancing for almost 10 plus years now. I'm insecure about it. But so I'm just trying to mobilize my platform a lot more. I'll definitely post a lot more. And
And see, you need Sterling to take pics of you while you're doing your dance stuff and everything.
No, I do need definitely, because I've definitely just was saying, I need a photographer, I need a video camera person.
Yeah. Oh yeah, update my photos. I haven't taken anything since 2013, man. I'm a whole different person from then.
Yes. Christian, how do we get? I know you got social media. What's your Instagram again?
God, I don't even know at the moment. Just if they follow me on Facebook right now, my name Christian Sellers. I'll usually get back out to them or what have you. I'll re-download Facebook, see what's going on with that. Yeah. What?
You're gonna re-download it. You're not even on it, but that's okay.
I don't, but hey, you know me. Hey, I'll check it. I'll check it. You know where I be, man.
Listen,
I be doing too much.
I want to applaud you guys, real talk, for all that you're doing. Listen, y'all give a shout out to all of them who's out there. Yes, Roland. Hey, appreciate you, my brother. And we are so grateful to just have a conversation with young Black men who are doing their part. They're not hoodlums. They're not thugs. They're not out there doing crazy. These are young, educated Black men who are a part of the movement, who hurt, who feel, who breathe just like everyone else. And they are not going to be politicized or anything like that, because we want to change the narrative of who they are, to let you know these are great men and we love them and we stand behind them and everything. So I appreciate you and all that you guys do. And again, I can't thank you enough. Much love to all four of you and what you do. And I'm just proud to know all of you and get to know you even better. And again, I got a team of people out here that out here, Dr. Ed Rice, Dante, some of my other friends, Thomas, Davis, all that. Listen, you guys have great shoulders to stand on so that you don't have to do this by yourself. But when you succeed, we all succeed in this. So, guys, thank you again for coming on, and I definitely appreciate you so much.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Marty.
Yes. No. Tanya, see, again, folks tell me they really enjoyed. Thank you so much, Tanya, for joining us. So y'all hold on as we go there. Listen, again, I want to thank you guys for tuning in for another edition of Mental Health Matters with Marty. Listen, these young men have blessed us today. So again, please like and share. Do your part. I think if nothing else you take from this, do your part, however great or small. It's not always about the huge things that you see, but it's what you can do in your own community, in your own house, in your own neighborhood, on your jobs, and whatever you do. Listen, as always, you can always join us again. My new website, mentalhealthmarty.com. So excited about that. You can also see me on Facebook at Mental Health Matters with Marty and on YouTube with Martina Sellers. Again, we want you, every Wednesday I drop a new episode of Mental Health Matters with Marty podcast that you can find on Apple, Google, Spotify, Stitcher, and iHeartRadio. And to stay in touch with things, you can text I Matter to 31996. Again, that's I Matter to 31996. We don't want you to suffer in silence, but stop the stigma and the negative stigma as it pertains to mental health services, especially within our Black and Brown communities. But as always, we want you to speak up, speak out, and live. And until next time, we'll see you later. Take care.